It is the draft season podcast. We are back after a jam-packed fucking sports weekend. It is your boy Young Raz coming live from where I often do Queens, New York. I'm with my player partner. Talk to him real quick.
Yo, you already know, man. We definitely in the building today, Raz. Black Twitter's #1 fantasy sports and entertainment podcast, draft season podcast. We out here, man. Shout to everybody rock with us. But yeah, man. Just talking about the sports weekend for a second, Raz. I mean, we are gonna get into some bullshit today, but so much happened in at the NFL. That's division weekend, which is wild. So we're gonna touch on that. But before we do get into that, Raz, please go ahead and introduce our lovely guest today, bro.
Yeah, we got an esteemed guest on the panel today. Um, don't kill us either because you are the first woman to grace the draft season podcast as well, and not by any neglect on our part because there's a lot of dope women in the space doing things like that.
Yep.
We just been kind of running with some of the network that we know that just has been inherently male. So that you know how that goes, but that's not an excuse. And we are very happy. It's not an excuse.
Before we even get in there, Raz, yeah, we've been planning this for a second, and and this is not pandering at all because we do this shit back and forth. But like, especially when we talk about, we're gonna get into a lot of just basketball content stuff and just like media stuff in general. But like, I really had this realization probably like sometime last year, and just what I'm saying, there's a lot of ladies that's doing amazingly dope shit with a different spin on stuff, which I've really come to appreciate because, like you said, it's a very male dominated lane for sure. But yeah, man, they really bringing something different to the just the basketball space. So I've come to appreciate that myself.
Yeah, so let's get back into the introduction. Sorry, we got C. Jolie with us today. Talk to him real quick.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. Like, it has been a minute. I was supposed to come on this, I don't know when, but months ago. But it's all good.
Raz does the scheduling. Yeah, we're gonna point. We gonna play that on Raz.
But yeah, no, I mean, let's get kind of into it. We can touch on the football bit in a little bit, but let's tell the people a little bit about yourself, how you got started, what's going on with you right now, and then we could jump back into football, and then we'll hop right back into basketball.
Okay, so I'm C. Jolie, and I run my sports page, the C. Jolie Report. I always wanted to work in sports, but I wanted to do that marketing side. So whether it was working at an agency, working with an athlete, working with Gatorade, didn't matter. Like, I wanted to do marketing, but I realized that anyone can do marketing in sports. Like, you don't have to have a passion for it to really be a marketer in sports. And I wanted to stand out. Like, you could tell like sometimes these guys are skeptical because they're like, okay, like, you do marketing, cool story. Like, what else can you really do, right? They think it's like, I think some guys think it's a front when it's not. So in order for me to really show I know the game, I was like, why don't I start pursuing scouting? And that's pretty much how I'm at where I'm at now. And on the side, I'm pursuing jewelry design as well. So I do hope to service athletes in that regard. So my life revolves around sports, and I try to do stuff that puts me in that industry.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, and that's a dope story. I think that's the grind of it is crazy. Just being individual and independent content creators. But I mean, we saw you out in Vegas.
Hold on, Raz. Before we get to Vegas, I know, and it's a real douchey thing that guys do when they talk about sports with women. And like Raz, it's funny because we see, like, I know Twitter loves doing like, oh, kitchen. But then I've realized it's like, nah, like, you guys do this to a lot of women, but it's a lot of guys. I see some takes on time. I'm like, you deserve to go to the kitchen.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that'll be master chefs in there that need to go in the kitchen.
I don't know if you guys remember the whatever that Randy Moss tweet was over the weekend about Jamar Chase. And he just
yeah. Hold on. He said I've never seen anyone as dominant as this before.
He said Jamar Chase might be a more physically imposing than Randy Moss. And Jamar's a monster. Jamar is, what I'm saying, who they bangle up, all that. We're gonna get to that in a few. But Randy Moss is just, he's in a whole different echelon. What we talking about. That was a go straight to kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Put the oven on medium heat and start getting ready to cook some shit. But yeah, a lot of guys need to get to the kitchen as well. So like I know, especially when we have these conversations, they just get away on the masculinity, man. Like I said,
Mhm.
it's just dope to see other and there's a lot, like I said earlier, there are women that know their stuff, and that shit is just whack to me. And we need to do better than that. But we can move on after that though, Raz.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just in Vegas, we saw just the kind of scope of your work, right? Like you're doing photography as well as the scouting reports and things like that. So, just as we're gonna touch into it a little bit later on the pod, just keep this question in your mind, like, just because you're so well versed in a lot of different areas of the media and a lot of different things while you're out on the road, when do you have time to sleep? One and two, what is the hardest part and what's the most rewarding part of it? But yeah, let's jump in to NFL divisional round, because some pundits, some critics, commentators were saying this was the best weekend of football that we've had ever. I don't like to use hyperbole sometimes, but I mean
Yeah.
that last game kind of made it to where I'm not even mad at if anybody's really throwing that around, because that last game really set the weekend off, and everything was just high intensity for the whole weekend. So we'll touch on the last game a little bit later. But other than that one, what was your favorite game of the weekend? Sean, we can start with you.
Yeah, if we just like go off the rip and be honest, like the games progressively got better as the weekend like went crazy. Like I know that like the Bengals game started off, it was a nice little appetizer. Just the theater of what happened in the Packers and 49ers game. We could talk about Rodgers in a second. And I'm not we have this conversation. Shout out to our friend of our show, family of the show, Infield. You know what I'm saying? Just real Packer homer and all that shit. And Rodgers is amazing. And we've had this GOAT conversation, but I guess this might be a conversation for another day. I'm not even the type of dude that does the ring talk, and it's funny that Brady lost as well this weekend, kind of just ushering the new era of these modern quarterbacks, really the changing of the guard. But I mean, 5 is more than 1. That shit is hard. We talk about the Rodgers versus Brady thing, but yeah, I think the best game of the weekend had to be that Chiefs versus Bills game. Man, it just kind of felt like they were playing a different sport
Yeah.
than some of these other games.
I think defense for that.
Yeah, I mean, like even you just like the fourth quarter was like that shit. If football looked like that every single weekend, man, like it would legitimately just be a drug. But I don't know, man. That game, like Gabriel Davis, right? Somebody who we spent a lot of time talking about as well. You know what I'm saying? What did he have? 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. It
Yeah.
was an insane weekend. So yeah, I think I got to go with that Chiefs Bills game for me at least.
Mhm.
Gotcha. And you, see Jolie?
Last game as well, Bills and Chiefs, just because of that fourth quarter. It's like we haven't seen something like that in so long. They said they had 25 touchdowns in a minute or something like that, or
Yeah,
25
25
points,
points. Yeah.
25 points in a minute.
I mean, it felt like 25 touchdowns. So, like, I'm not like you're not even wrong there. Like, the amount of points that was scored in that short amount of time was like, yo, what are we doing here? Like Sean said, like it looked like people were playing a different sport in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, just to go the whole like length of the field in 13 seconds to get the field goal, like that's hard to do in Madden, bro. Like I see shit and it's like, bro, they done took this quarterback and shit to a completely different level. Mahomes and it's whack that like I would love to see a rematch of that game. To be honest, if we could run it back, I'm like, can we do that again Sunday? Like, it's just me. I'm
I
like
know.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm down like to watch that game again. That shit was incredible.
Would have been nice if the coin toss wasn't a factor. The overtime rules, they need to change that.
I'm like torn on that too, because it's like yeah, I get we want to see Josh Allen have the ability to possess the ball. Like they already like put that rule in. Like a field goal off rip doesn't win it. Like
Yeah.
at some point we got to put like the onus on the defense, right? Like the defenses
Yeah.
did nothing in the last
Mhm.
6 minutes of the game. Like it's like, like even to give up the field goal with 13 seconds, like what the hell was the defense doing there? And then, at the end, like they couldn't stop anybody. So it's just like football, like I think, a lot of commentators said like, changing the rule to do that is taking defense out of it again. Like, and we need at some point the defense has to play. Like Granted, not every team's gonna have Mahomes and Josh Allen where you can literally run it up and outscore everybody. Like some defense is gonna have to be played. So I think we kind of have to keep that rule in. But I think for just one night, for sure, I would have been in for the rule to switch because that game is one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not
Well,
mad at. No, yeah, go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
they shouldn't let the person that got the touchdown into OT have a chance to go first though in overtime. So I think the Bills should have started the overtime.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm really not mad at, it's just like everybody, like if we both started off like, all right, bet, if I score, you score. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm not mad at it, especially like you said, Raz, especially after a game like that when the stakes are so high. And honestly, I can't say that if Buffalo was in that same situation and they had 30 seconds to go, realistically, whoever had the ball last was probably going to win. It did not seem like I wasn't even like in my mind. I was like, no, there's no way Mahomes is about to go down the entire length of the field in 13 seconds to win this game. And this is exactly what happened. Like, so yeah, man, Raz, I know, like you said about the hyperbole, we don't like doing that, but that was a special game. I mean, talking about the Bucks versus Rams game real quick, I guess we could get you guys take on it, Raz. We could start with you on that game because that was also that game was also not lacking in the theatrics category. And Brady, it was kind of like I'm watching this game the whole time, just kind of like, when is he going to make his comeback? And it didn't really kick in until late, but they were just going to make that mad dash, and especially after the fumble. So, Raz, what was your just quick takeaways from that Bucks versus Rams game?
I mean, like I really thought he was going to do it again, and I wasn't going to be able to live with it, for the next couple of days because, even though Brady is not in New England no more, like it just brings me back to a dark place as a Jets fan, watching him succeed. I like him more. Yeah. I like him more now that he's in Florida. But it's one of those things where it's like for centuries, everybody's been saying like, yo, as long as if we can get Matt Stafford off of the Lions, he'll be able to show what he can do. And they almost blew it, and he took that punch, that gut punch, and somehow, some way, Cooper Kupp running down the seam open, and Matt Stafford kind of got a little proverbial monkey off his back. I mean, obviously he hasn't gotten to the promised land yet, but in an instance in which we've seen, Detroit Lions led by Matt Stafford fold like that, he was able to rise above that. So I'll say my pick was Chiefs Rams. If y'all remember the last episode, for the Super Bowl, so we're still looking good. So we'll stay like that.
I don't have a take because the game was on, but I was tired, so I was like napping, and then like I wake up to like a play, then I fall asleep again. So I don't have a take, but I did see it was another game won off a field goal. So
and I respect that too because people would have got on here and lied. So, like people would have got on here and told a lie.
We got more football content coming this week, so we're gonna touch upon the rest of the games and preview the conference finals, conference championship game. But yeah, what else we got to get into today, Raz?
Of course, let's really get into that sports grind, that sports content grind that all of us on this show right now is a part of. Just as independent content creators, and Sean always says all the time, like he got respect for anybody doing this shit because we putting ourselves out there. So the moment we release it into the internet, the critiques come, the like you're open to everything out there. So I want to know just what is it like getting out there and kind of just making a name for yourself? Like, what are the steps you've had to take? What are some of the doors that have been closed in your face? What are gates you've hopped? Just things like that you've done to get your name in some of these rooms.
Yeah. So for one is just the camera. That was literally that's what I realized can get me to tournaments and games, get a pass. So not necessarily pay, but be able to get to these events and then take pictures, leave with content, and then now I can like tag the coaches, tag the players, and they're like, who's that basically. That's how I started. And then a lot of times I'm like the only girl in the gym. There's like a handful of us, and I'm the only one with a camera. So I stand out and people just come up to me, oh, do you work for a team, or do you work for who do you work for basically, so that's how I start to introduce myself. What I noticed in basketball or in sports in general, you have to be out there. Like you can't be behind your computer or social media because you're not making that much of an impact at all. Like you need to network, and all of the network, like my network has been organic just from going out and talking to people. And then on social media, I don't disregard anyone. So if someone engages with me, I engage back. And then I just read their bio. If they're in sports, I follow back. So, in the case, oh, you're in Vegas, I'm in Vegas. Like, let's link up. That's just how I do it. It is tough being independent because you just don't know how to like get into certain um, credentials for certain stuff because you could try to work for overtime, not a fan. Or you could try to work for Slam or all these, but you don't have the freedom that you'd like either.
Yeah.
So even in the circuit, the AAU circuits, you can work for a team, but you want to work with a team that allows you to watch the other games and take pictures of the other games. You don't want to work with a team that's gonna have you only have to get content for them. That's why I kind of like the independent grind. As hard as it is, you have the freedom to do what you want. You can go when you want. You can stay the whole day if you want. You can watch a couple games. Like it's all on you. It's tougher, but you have a lot of decision making, and it's a lot of money. But at the end of it, it's worth it in the end.
No, that's like I said, it's super dope, man. I know one thing we talk about is it's really, particularly going back to just talking about scouting, and we do a lot of scouting, and it's a lot of self and analyzing, just the past, what you've watched and picking up things. You got a chance, just taking a look at your page, you had a chance to do the pro scout school, which is super, super interesting. It's something I've seen in the past. What was that experience like? What was some of the information that you picked up? And just like I said, for anybody that does scouting, always staying up to trends and picking up things that you didn't know in the past that are super important for player development. So from your side, at least, from that, having that opportunity, what really stood out to you from, or just anything that you took from that weekend?
Okay, so they didn't actually have the Pro Scout weekend, I guess because it was too last minute, but they did do a mixer. In February, March, I actually did, I signed up for their virtual one. So I kind of had information already, and the virtual one were for the price, like you get all the information you need. It was just a little dated as far as like, the players that they mentioned. So I think the last one was like 2017. Since Pure Sweat picked up the Pro Scout School from another company, they're updating it for themselves. Like they have to update their virtual school now, right? Which is supposed to be updated this year. So once they do that, I'm gonna sign up again. But just being able to talk to Drew Hanlon and another advanced scout from OKC Thunder, there was a lot of people that were former scouts. Like a lot of coaches came, a lot of trainers. I was only girl, of course. But I expected that. But there was there's really no method to how you scout. Pretty much everyone wants intel on what that's not out there already. So if you have a player that people might know but they don't really know, then that's who they want to hear from. And it just speaking of the Knicks, the assistant coach, I read something where not read something, I think Thibodeau was talking about one of the players, I can't remember who, but Thibodeau didn't have this information on this player, even though he's a well-known player. I think it was IQ. He was talking about IQ. So he didn't really know that much about IQ, but this assistant coach just went and gave him like a real rundown on why he's important to the team. So I think that's something I want to be able to do in scouting as well. Like not just, oh, he could do this, this, and this. I want to bring information on this is why they're good for your team, pretty much. So they basically said there's no real method to it. As
Watch
you
a lot
know,
of
advanced
basketball. That's
scouting,
probably that's the number one method.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Advanced scouting is different since you are basically a coach, like you're on the coaching staff and you're scouting like the next opponent. So he basically, the OKC advanced scout basically said it's tiring. It's rigorous. I've heard advanced scouting is really you're away from family. You don't have time to be around your family because you're on the road all the time. So if you want to do advanced scouting, like you have to keep that in mind too.
Copy. And I'll say, like, with some of the tournaments and things that you've kind of just been exposed to, how has this year's kind of scouting cycle gone for you, or last year's as well? And like, do you have any high school players that our people should be looking out for in the next couple of years, like rising seniors and seniors right now?
Seniors right now. So the players I got to see, I'm a big advocate for Dariq Whitehead. As someone that does make Whitehead, I feel like people talk about him, but I don't think he gets the respect as he should yet. He's somebody that knows his like strengths and weaknesses, and he's always like, he'll hear criticism. He's willing to hear criticism and like improve his game. I think Duke has a great player coming in him. Judah Mintz as well. Judah Mintz is another favorite of mine that I got to see over the summer on Team Durant, and he's currently at Oak Hill right now. I'm trying to figure out where he's gonna go since he initially committed to Pitt, but then he started to get more offers, I guess. So he took his he was like he's deciding once again where he should go. So as far as Florida goes, since my time here in South Florida and Miami, the Boozer twins, of course, they are really good for their age. Like, they are 14, they are freshmen, they are playing varsity, and so far they've done a really good job. Like, they are poised, like they have a lot of skill for their age, and I'm excited to see how they're going to develop in the next 3 years. They go to Columbus High School in Miami. So the other players in Florida, Marvell Allen, he's going to LSU. He plays at Calvary Christian. He's also a player that's highly touted in Florida. I think he's going to be really good. Kobe King, he's going to St. John's. He goes to Pines Charter.
Gang.
So, yes.
Tell us more about that. Tell us more about him. Is he a 4-star, 5-star? What we working with out here in Queens?
I believe he's a 4-star. I'm gonna go to a couple more games of him this season, and also check out his workouts. And definitely, you could expect a report on him just for the St. John's fans, because I just made a tweet once like, "Johnny's, do you want to report?" and like 50 people liked it. So
we run heavy. We run heavy on Twitter.
I know the Johnnies are very, very dedicated. So that's something
it's been a while since they've been a serious player in recruiting. So it sounds like the coaching staff is doing their homework. We haven't seen someone. I mean, we had Shamori, obviously. Shout out to Shamori, but yeah. So
well, Kobe is averaging 16 a game right now. They've played like 17 games in total. Like, he scored almost 300 points.
Okay.
At that. So, yeah. I think he, like, just from seeing him play at a tournament, he stood out right away. So I was excited to see he was going to St. John's.
Can we talk about it's funny we brought up Dariq Whitehead earlier, and you know what I'm saying, watching him, there's another Raz. We talk about the factory that is Montverde, and they just turning these kids out on a year-to-year basis. And you know what I'm saying, he's another one of these guys. Watching, I probably the first time he caught my eye playing with Scotty and Cade. He was on that. He was on that. He was on that team as well. My verb is absolutely ridiculous. But what do you make of him? I see you. You had the interview with him as well. He seemed cool as hell. But yeah, what did you make of his game, man? He's going. Yeah, he committed to Duke, right? Yeah.
Duke, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
He plays both ends of the floor. I know he worked on his shot, but he has a quick release whenever he catches it. He's not afraid to drive, which is always respectable, not just always pulling up for jumpers. I think he's a great leader as well. Like, just take away the game as like aside, just watching him, how he is as a leader of his team. It's evident he is like the best player, the best in the sense that like the coach like trusts him as a role to kind of set the tone for the team.
So, in terms of him, because Duke has been churning out, recruits forever. So as soon as Coach K
Yep.
has figured out he needed one and dones, and now he's leaving. Coincidence? I don't know. But what do you think? I guess the fit is at Duke, and obviously we need to know the rest of how the rest of the recruiting class is going to shake out. But is he going to be someone you think that's going to be able to go one and done?
That's so hard to tell these days.
Yeah.
I can't even really say if he's gonna go one and done or not. With the NIL now, it's like it's really up to him. If he feels like he needs to develop more once he gets to Duke and it's not working out, then do another season. Or if he feels he's ready to go to the NBA, then I could see him doing that as well. I just feel like nowadays a lot of the lottery picks even will have to spend more time in the G League. It's no longer like they're
Yep.
getting all these minutes. Like, didn't Jalen Green just come back from like an assignment? I think.
Yep.
I think he did. So like it's not guaranteed anymore. It's no longer like really a young man's game. Like the older players are more at like they're healthier longer. So it's really up to it's gonna be there's more options now. Like, do you want to stay another year? Do you want to spend time in the
And
G League?
I had this take. I forgot where I said it. I do way too many. Sometimes I don't remember where the hell I said something or what episode. But just talking about because the G League is more important than ever, especially when you're just talking about scouting the back half of rosters, finding these guys who are going to be able to contribute minutes early. That really need a just that opportunity. But I think just switching topics back, going back to another somebody who also was in the news recently that I would love to get you guys' opinion on. Shaedon Sharpe, he had he's on campus at UK, Kentucky. I think we're still waiting to see if he's going to actually play in games. Obviously, he reclassified into this 2022 cycle, so it's possible he could
As
go
he should have.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. He's really he has a type of skill set that is going. Teams that are definitely. I think for a prospect like him, who I think teams have probably done a lot of due diligence on him, just in terms of what he's done on the prep level, and he's a widely known prospect. So teams aren't unfamiliar with him as a prospect. But what do you guys just make of him as a player? For a lot of other people who might follow the draft cycle a little more casually, like I said, jumping into this cycle, what do you guys make of him as a player?
I'd like to see him play at Kentucky. I think that would be nice. I know they said he's going to enter the NBA draft, but again, it's so hit or miss. It's like if he goes in, is he going to make an impact right away, especially not playing in college for a year. I didn't get to watch enough of him during high school, but of course he's Canadian, so I paid attention as much as I could to Shaedon, but that's another one where I'm not. I'd like to see him play at Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not gonna hold you. I think it's one of those things where, like I'm reading the comments on the side too. A lot of people are saying big believer. Yeah. Not even the question. Just like people are just saying that they need time, whether it's in the G League, whether it's in college. The one thing that concerns me sometimes now, and I guess we'll get a little bit less of that, is that when the kids were going across the pond, playing in like the New Zealand league and those leagues over there where they're legitimately playing against other grown men, like grown men that are playing for their livelihood, it became a little bit harder to scout them, just because the game's different. They're so much physically outmatched, at that age over there. It's kind of hard. I feel like LaMelo is one of those guys where he didn't play well over there. Like, it wasn't like one of those things where
he didn't shoot well. I would say he didn't shoot well. If you're just scouting, I think if you're just scouting the his box score statistics, I will come across saying he didn't play well. But what I'm saying, a lot of the signs there with Melo were there, just in terms of just the craft that he brings, and that bounce and that flash that he brings to the court. Those are all there. But yeah, like I said, the adjustment period of playing in NBL is an extremely physical league. So that's no it's no joke. And I would say it's definitely like those are grown men. There's guys who played in the NBA years ago that are in that league. So yeah, it's definitely for an 18-year-old, that's asking a lot to ask them to just step in and contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, let's get to the question you referenced in the chat, Sean.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want to just real quick on the Shaedon because yeah, he's super. His package of skills that he's going to bring to like if he's going to the draft or what he's going to bring to Kentucky, he's just somebody who 6'6" plus wingspan, explosive 2 feet leaper in traffic. He's able, he's one of these guys that I've seen people throw out, similarities between someone like a Donovan Mitchell, and I think just the way he's able to contort his body in traffic, that's something that is a really good plus for him. He also has shown, just from some of the film that I've seen from him, just an improved, skill set and feel for getting to his pull-up jump shot. So, the where he's going to end up on the spectrum of a player, it's a vast spectrum, and it could go extremely any way. He could go extremely high, and he's somebody who has a lot of potential. Also has good potential on the defensive side. So yeah, what happens with him is definitely going to be something that I'm keeping an eye on. But going into, the homie Script in the chat asked a wonderful question. And I think this is just more of a philosophical question, which is something that, it probably does us a good, I always love going back to the board and just thinking about, what we can improve on scouting wise and finding guys. Raz, I'm sorry, man. Every time I watch the Pelicans are on right now. And every time I watch the Pelicans, I just remember the conversation we had about Herb Jones, bro. Because I brought him up and you was just like, He was just like, I don't really see it. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Just refining what we see. So
we can't be right all the time.
No, we can't be right all the time. We're not gonna be right all the time. Like there's a lot to go on that. Like I think about even you mentioned Jalen Green and like Raz. I don't think it wasn't. Like I felt like we weren't low on Evan Mobley, but
we weren't this high.
And I'm just like I like now, and I love Jalen. I'm just like, damn, Evan definitely should have been behind Cade, probably number one.
Evan, like literally, like you go back and see what he was doing in high school and college. It doesn't compare to what he's doing right now. It was like I watched several Evan Mobley games. I was like, yeah, he's a great player, but I just didn't see like the hype that he had. Like I was like, he's gonna be a good NBA player, the size, whatever. But I get where you guys are coming from too with that because I didn't
see Kevin Garnett, right? Like you didn't see.
No, it was kind of like that was kind of apparent, and some of the stuff that just jumps off the tape with Evan Mobley. I think another thing is just like, particularly when we talk about just the college game and how different it is than the NBA. It's one of those situations for me, at least. Like it didn't take me long when I watched the Cavs preseason game before the season started, and I saw him on the NBA court, and I was just like, yeah, this looks different than how like he didn't have any good guard play at USC, and he was responsible for creating his own offense. Right, I know that's a point we spoke about. But yeah, to get to the homie Script's question in the chat, he says, "What are red flags to avoid as a scout when kids are so young?" We just talking about the over glorification, falling in love too much with just the scouting, and it's like the rankings and things like that. That's one thing. But for you guys, at least, just something that if you just like draw your brain from past examples, just things that you would might as a red flag, things you or probably doesn't foresee great development going forward for you guys, at least.
I honestly don't think any kid should be under 13 should be like even evaluated at all. Like I'm not about to shoot down an 8-year-old's dream and say that, sorry, you're not gonna make it because you can't, do this and that. Like I'm not gonna do that because literally basketball. There's a certain age where I think where you realize where you're gonna play at a higher level, and I think that's at least by the time you're 14, 15, because literally all you just gotta train. You gotta consistently work on your game to get better, and you gotta be under a good coach to get better. Those are like the little things that factor in on how kid's gonna do. I don't think it really has, like, there's habits, maybe just their work ethic, really.
How about you,
Yeah,
Rad?
I think it's the same thing. I think, even in high school, right, it comes down to the motor.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes you can't, like, I mean, I've seen people increase their motor, when money's on the line, right? Like when it's in that contract year, but then it goes right back to where it was at, right? I don't think, the how to and the want to of like even defending, it's like people can become effort defenders. They might not be the best physical attributes to become like the greatest defenders ever, but just the work ethic. And I don't need you to be like, like being, at the gym 4 a.m. no sleep, but you need to have some type of work ethic to progress your game. And I think that's kind of where it starts. That's the only red flag in kids that I would say like that jumps out once they're so young, before they've hit their basketball prime and things like that. I think motor is the one thing you can call them out on.
That's it. Because, like, personally, like, when I played, literally, I just had one summer of really intense training and I got way better. Like, it has, it's just, I don't think there's a ceiling on that. But then, like Ross said, it does come down to just the motor.
Yeah, no, I think those are both great points, and just at least for like I always tell people, like you have to watch, at least for me, like you have to watch multiple games to really get a feel of people. I know some people like doing the highlight scouting, and that's a very dangerous game to play. Like even I know like even sometimes when you watch just like video like mock-ups or whatever, you want to like I think that's something I tried when we were like doing the actual video. You don't want it just to be all makes. You got to see sometimes you can sometimes like you can learn more about jump shot consistency by more of the misses than the actual makes. So if you're just watching the ball go in on that side, it's going to definitely be something for me at least. I think this is just something to at least scouting point guards and something I think about a lot. And point guard for me at least, being the lead general and floor general of the actual team. And you obviously we get the changes to the actual modern basketball with big wings, and you have your Jokic types that are offensive hubs. But just thinking about just the threshold for a lead guard prospect, and I think if we talk about this particular class, it's not an amazing uh, class of lead guards. I would say, Raz. I would also say we spoke about Tata is definitely. I think he's rising on my board. At least we make it right.
Yeah,
Next time I make my actual
he's
board,
he,
just
he just got hurt though. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he's shown what I thought he would show. Ability to be a lead guard, knockdown shooting. Just run. Watching him at the Iverson Round Ball Classic. He just kind of gave off. That cool, calm, collected presence you would need from a point guard, especially as someone being so young. So prayers up for whatever that injury is. I gotta do a little bit more research on it. Hopefully, it's not serious, but Ty is definitely rising up that board. Especially at the guard position, lead guard position.
Hmm.
Yeah, so getting back to what I was saying is just like, yeah, the importance of one thing that I feel like all of the best guards in the league can do, and we talk about just the importance of like first step. So I think that is super, and like I said, it's when you get to some of these guards, I think there's just thresholds you have to meet as a lead guard, especially in the league. I think you could get there one as a just an insane pull-up shooter. That's one, but just the importance of the first step in half court settings is incredibly important. I
Yeah.
think being able to create that advantage off the dribble is something that's replicable when we talk about what translates to the next level. Like we talk about somebody like a Jaden Ivey, his first step is elite. Might damn near be the best first step in the actual the draft itself. He's gonna be able to get to the teeth of the defense, force that rotation. And at that point, once you're forcing rotation, it might take time to really realize and get more adept at what I'm saying, getting used to throwing the proper velocity on some skip passes and more advanced reads. But being able to create that advantage is super important. And I think just getting a feel for prospects, just that feel and that intuition. We talk about, and I think this is something that happens more with quarterbacks, Raz, when we scout quarterbacks for the NFL, and they talk about processing. And for black quarterbacks, it's a detriment. They said they're
Yeah,
not smart enough to play the position. We don't really you don't hear those crutches in basketball as much, thankfully. But what I'm saying, processing and reading the game and just being up to the speed of the game. We talk about how from high school to college to the NBA and those increases in just how fast everybody is around you and how those windows and how quickly they close. I think that's one thing that is extremely hard to. You have to get a large sample size for players and see how they really adjust to it. I think about Amani at least for that, and I think just his passing, he has a long way to go as even a tertiary guy who you could count on to make the right passes in a lot of pick and roll. But yeah, shout to the homie Skirt in the chat. That was a phenomenal question. I make music in the chat says Chet Holmgren is a generational talent. Raz and CJ, I will get you guys since we are here. What are you guys making of? I don't know how much of Chet you guys have watched, but I've been impressed for what I've seen at least, step by step. What about you guys?
Yeah, I've been I'm a Chet fan. He just needs to get bigger. That's it. I don't see that's the only thing because he could get bodied easily in the NBA, but he but he has all the skills. Like he's super. His skill set, poise, footwork, handles, height, like it's all there.
Yeah, I mean, I so after seeing Chet, just in person, like you don't like take for granted how tall he actually is, right? Like he's like even on TV, he looks so much bigger than everybody else he's around, just height wise. But he's so real thin. But like his skill set is incredible. I think he has still a case to be, top 2 pick. That run for number 1 is becoming real tough because we're seeing a lot from a lot of other players as well that come with a little bit more of a NBA ready body as people would like to see. But I think the right team gets with Chet and gets him on that weight program that brings him along not too quickly because big men start gaining weight, they get the foot problems and things like that. We don't want that for him. Just put on the weight steady and keep improving that skill. And like Chet does have the ability to be a generational talent, going forward. But it's all about health and just the progression of his body.
Yeah, I saw him at Summer League at Thomas and Mack. I don't know if that's where you saw him or if you just saw him play, but he is tall. He's super tall.
We definitely saw him out there, but I saw him at the Round Ball Classic, the Iverson Round Ball Classic out in Memphis last year. And that's when Paolo I knew he was good, but watching him with that skill set at that size do it to the whole camp, you're like, hold on, let me do a little bit more research on that. And you're seeing that right now. So
yeah, now Chet is definitely he's like he's not big at all, like far from it actually. Like I don't know what he's weighing in right now. Definitely below 200 easily at this point. But I definitely think his rim protection is going to translate, and I think even though he is small, he doesn't play like one of these guys that you're going to be able to just pick on. I think he is going to be able to use and leverage that length to create havoc on defense. And I think particularly just the way that the league is going. And I think, that number 1 conversation, Raz, I don't know how you guys or where you guys stand on it. It's a day by day, game by game thing for me because
it's a 3-person race right now, but they're all bigs. Like they're all bigs for me. Like it's some from Auburn, Jabari Smith, Chet, and Paolo. So it's like, it depends on the team, right? And I guess who has the best highlight at the end of the season, really, because like it's neck and neck, like you said, day by day.
Yeah, until the draft lottery and until players are like, okay, I'm declaring for the draft, that's when I'll have a more of an opinion. But right now, until they do that, I'm just gonna enjoy college basketball.
Yes, same for sure. So yeah, I mean, Raz, there's a couple things we want to get into. Just rundown wise. So I mean, for one thing I would love to get into. So I mean, just like finding those roles, Raz. I know this time last year you was extremely high on the IO pack, and just finding guys who are possible. I meant to tweet it actually, but and IO has been amazing for the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? All love and anybody now gaining or jumping on the IO bandwagon. You gotta send some royalties over to Raz, because he was definitely really early and high on him. But for you guys, just guys that under the radar guys that are playing extremely well right now, that you guys think could be a sleeper, late rotation guy that could come in and contribute to an NBA team early on, from what you've seen in this this half of the college basketball season. We're almost, I mean, honestly, it's longer than that, but yeah, almost to March. But who really sticks out to you guys as guys who could be late round contributors?
So I do like. Oh,
Go ahead.
I do like Jabari Smith. A lot of times I end up watching college games of players that like I've seen personally through high school. They're not big names, so it could be like So I'll watch I'll watch Louisville because DeAndre Davis is on there. He's solid for them. Um, what else do I watch? Like I'll turn on Alabama to watch Quinterly and what's his name, Davison play as well.
Yeah, JD.
So I'll do
JD.
like JD, yeah. Like I'll do like little stuff like that, like even North Texas, because someone that I watched that when I was in Houston, Aaron Scott. Like I'll watch those kind of games right now. I'm not really like I'll watch Kansas obviously because I'm a Kansas fan. I'll watch Michigan State, AJ, Hogger fan. Just like those, it's very like scattered with me. I don't have like a set plan. I just turn on like the streaming thing and I'm like, hey, what game am I watching today? Basically,
there's always a good game on. It's always a good game on somewhere. You just gotta find. You're like, I didn't even know this game was on right now.
For me, it's the UCLA boys, man. Like I watched them put out
Peyton Watson.
Huh?
You're not about to say Peyton Watson.
Oh no. I'm talking about like Jaquez Jr. and the boys that put out Michigan State last year, because they're big shot makers and they're flying under the radar, and they're averaging good stuff. Obviously, got our boy out playing at Lou Conaseca, Julian Champagne.
I was about to say Julian. Can't forget Julian.
Yeah, like he's I feel like he's league ready. I don't feel like anybody else feels he's league ready. I mean, like obviously he's gonna come out this year, I think. But I've seen boards that have him like as low as 37. I think if you get a player like that at 37, you're getting, somebody that's, ready to kind of contribute right away, and not like, on a grand scale, but you might need a spell bucket in 7 minutes of play, and he could be a guy that gets you that. And then, I'm always rooting for those undersized power forwards. I feel like EJ Liddell's been in college for 32 years. He's probably going to be like he's probably going to be in the second round, but he's going to be somebody who's going to be able to produce some rebounds and some points at the power forward position in the NBA.
Yeah, man. I mean, we didn't get a chance to speak about probably my favorite player, and we haven't got a chance to speak about him on the pod yet. Raz, my guy, Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis has been one of the best shows in
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Johnny Davis, Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? He has an advanced bag, and you know what I'm saying, shout out to Bag Twitter. But his game is just he's just fun to watch, man. I think for anybody who hasn't seen it, I went back and watched that game. That game against Purdue, Wisconsin versus Purdue. That was probably one of the best college games that I've seen this season. Him and Jaden Ivey going back and forth at it. But yeah, Johnny Davis is so much fun, man. I really love his game, just about what he's going to be able to bring to you. I think that skill set, and we talk about just the footwork and the importance of footwork for guards, and somebody like Johnny Davis, I think he's put this on display a lot during this sophomore season, and he's able to do multiple dribble moves and still keep his base underneath him. I think that's something that we see with a lot of off the dribble shooters. They can get out of control trying to get that shot off, and it's just mechanically it's hard to make sure your bottom half is lined up with your top half when you're shooting, and you're not throwing your whole mechanics off when you're doing that. But Johnny Davis, I think he's somebody who he's going to be able to create his own create his own bucket. I think the first step is the sneaky quick, and I think first step combined with just he's really strong, and I think that also shows on what he's able to bring defensively. You know what I'm saying? So I think just that profile of somebody who he can score. I think he's going to be able. He's going to be able to pass on a secondary level, and play plus defense. You know what I'm saying? If that shot from three really, translates to the NBA 3-point level, I think we're looking at somebody who could sneak up into the top 5, possibly a top 10 pick. But yeah, he's definitely somebody who I've definitely loved. But I know another thing we had on the rundown, just about the best conferences. So I mean, I have an answer for this, but I don't know where you would go for that, Raz.
Me, best conference is gonna be the Big Ten. You can put that Big 12 shit up if you want. The Big Ten, the Big Ten. I'm almost certain. Let's look at the last ranking. The Big Ten gotta have like 5 teams in there. Let's see: Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Illinois. What's that? How many is that? Is that 6? Whatever. Either way, lots of teams always represented in the Big Ten. It's not the flashiest of basketball by any stretch of the imagination, but you got to bring your lunch pail and your hard hat to play in the Big Ten. So that's always going to be my vote. I'll listen to the dissenting opinions.
I'm gonna go Big 12. That's it. That's all. I don't really. I'm a Rochester fan, but they do have a really good conference going right now.
Shout to Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor is. Yeah.
Baylor is eating.
Are you sure?
Am I sure?
Oh man, nah. I mean, I'm trying to think of the talent wise too, because I would, if you're going like, if you're looking at a big board right now, how many people in that conference is in like the top 15? And I don't know if that rounds out to the strength of the conference. I think that's more so just individual prospects, but I mean, it does help to see the type of talent and where they're going. But 5K, what do you think for best conference?
Yeah, I'm probably with you on the Big Ten. It's kind of it's been gangulated out there, man. Like those teams are, you know, what it is. I think just for if we're trying to find teams that are going to be able to be a really hard out in a tournament setting, March Madness. A lot of those teams have good blends of what I'm saying, actual NBA prospects and upperclassmen who are familiar with the system that they're playing in. So yeah, I've been. I also want to say shout out to what I'm saying, the SEC is no joke either, man. They got some obviously good SEC, ACC, obviously. But yeah, man, Big Ten probably been, just for me at least. When I put those games on, those games are usually pretty damn good content, at least for me.
No.
Nah, you got jacketed.
And I got my last question is, I mean, I don't know how in tune everybody's been in. I know football and the NBA has been full steam ahead, but we're getting into that time where we got to lock in for these NBA prospects and NCAA and kind of start really deep diving into these games, because the tournament will be here quicker than we expect. Dark horse title contenders we have right now, and dark horse, I'll say, is probably teams that are not in the top 7, 8, the AP poll every week. Yeah. I mean, because
you were really going for it. I thought you were really going dark horse, like not even in the top 25.
I mean, I'm open to that too if you have one of those. I'm just saying, like, because I'm not going to name anybody in the top 25, but I mean, if you have someone that you're thinking specifically, let us hear it.
Well, I just realized that the others are, but I think Miami actually can make a case. They're playing well. Isaiah Wong's playing well.
That Florida State game was crazy.
Charlie Moore is killing it. They have a good team put together, and I think they could at least get far in the tournament.
So there's somebody that we need to be worried about, is what you're saying.
Yeah. They beat their game against Florida State, losing by only 1.
We got a lot of respect for Florida State on this program. We love the way that they recruit the same 4 players every year. We love it. It's a factory over there. They putting out the same players every single year.
Leonard Hamilton bringing like 7-footers off the bench. Like, no, I'm like what other college team is really doing that?
Scotty Barnes didn't even start last year, bro. Like, it's just like he does things like that. So it's like, I'll say, I like I like Illinois. I
Illinois.
feel like that they're always going to be solid. Obviously, Michigan State, no dark horse there, but I got to make them a dark horse so they play better. And then somebody that's outside top 25, I do like Alabama as a team that's a tough out. I'm not as high as some of the individual pieces that they have, but I do like the direction that they're headed. Um, and then I will say, it does sometimes get weird in that Mountain West time zone over there. I don't think they're gonna win the championship, but I think if you're a team that takes a team like BYU lightly, headed into the tournament, you're gonna be going home.
I think Davidson too might have a shot.
You stole my pick. you
No.
stole my you stole my pick. Nah, shout out to Davidson. Has low key been a very fun team to watch. We talk about. I don't want to put them in like I don't know how. I think they could win a. If they made it to like the Sweet 16, really wouldn't be shocked. I don't know how much. I don't know how much further they like just talent wise they'd be able to do. But Hyunjin Lee. I'm hoping I didn't butcher that, but he's low key like one of the best shooters in the country. He's just that guy. I think a lot of people compare him to Duncan Robinson if you just needed like a skill set that he brings to. But he's pretty cold just about he's a shooter. He can shoot off motion. Just rising up, hand in his face. Doesn't really matter. I think he's not somebody who I don't know if he's coming out this year, possibly next year, but I think he's starting to really play himself into legitimate NBA actual prospect because I think that level of shooting, some smart team is going to put him in the right role to where I think even his frame, he's not. I think he's like 6'7". With I think there's going to be defensive concerns with him at the next level, but I think if you have the right wings around him, he might not be, what I'm saying, somebody who is just going like every lineup that you play from on the court is going to be horrible. But I think that Davidson was definitely a great one. But I think other than that, I would say just my other favorite team to watch this year and my other favorite player. I'm definitely gonna work on my board soon to see exactly where I would slot him. But Tari Eason, another one, former Cincy Bearcat. I'm not sure if we've talked about him on the pod yet, Raz.
We haven't.
The last episode we had, but yeah, 6'4" kid out of Washington, Seattle area, and he's another one because Seattle just breeds hoopers every year. So he's definitely about to bring another one, and he brings just a grittiness and he plays like he's like a hard top kid. You can tell he played a lot of black top basketball growing up. He fights for every inch. I think he's going to be able to stretch the floor and shoot it. I think he's really made a good improvement to his shot. Just for what he showed last year at Cincinnati as well. I think his versatility on defense, I think he's going to be able to really defend threes and fours and really be a switchy day one defender in the NBA. And just his also as a weak side rim protector. So we're talking about somebody who's going to be able to be a defensive asset and is going to be able to slide in. So that LSU team has been they've played some tough games. That LSU Kentucky game was fun as hell to watch as well. So I've been like what I've seen from the Tigers. So I think that's about it for me on that end, though, Raz.
Yeah, no, I mean
LSU as well.
Yeah, I mean I like LSU. They're always pretty good. I mean the SEC took a little hiatus for a bit, but they're back in full effect. Other than Kentucky, that used to kind of be the thing where it was just Kentucky was the dominant player in that conference. We've gotten some good coaching changes there, and some recruits have started, heading and flooding back to the SEC. So we're that tournament's always going to be a good one now going forward. But yeah, I mean, we did an hour today. Really, really appreciate you hopping on.
Thank you.
This scouting,
gotta get her back on for more draft stuff closer to the actual draft, or like some maybe March Madness preview.
Okay.
We could do that.
I have two players that actually 2023 in high school. You guys probably know Simeon Wilcher.
I'm familiar.
Roselle Catholic. He goes to Roselle Catholic. I like his game a lot. And Ron Holland, he's on Duncanville. in Texas, and he's super
That
dope.
one I'm
And
not familiar with, but I'll take the suggestion. We definitely gonna get some film on him.
yeah, those two. I'm excited to see both of them play in this summer.
Got you. Any tournaments or any showcases you hitting up that we need to be at
I'm
in the
probably
next couple?
Facts.
if I can, I'm going to all of them. Like I don't. I haven't really looked at the calendar yet, but the circuit I go on like the circuit to see like they have all of the tournaments for the year. So
Yeah, Iverson
the
just
high school
announced
one.
the classic for this year. I think he said they're announcing it next week, Raz.
Where's it at this year?
I don't even no. I just said they're announcing details next week, so I know that's
Okay.
coming soon. Yeah, keep an eye out.
Because he's been rotating it for a bit, so
Yeah.
hopefully it's a little bit closer. But if I gotta go to Memphis again, you know, darn, I'll
Scoop's there, I'm there.
yeah, I
Scoop Henderson's there, I'm there.
grab some barbecue and shit. But
It's
yeah,
not in April, right?
it was in April last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you hopping on, and this scouting life is no joke. So like Sean said, we're gonna get you back on, very very soon. We'll be back shortly this week, guys. A lot more to talk. Probably be back with you in the next couple of days. We got the AFC Championship coming up. NFC Championship Sunday is going to be great in the football space. A lot of great college basketball on this week. And stay tuned for that stretch of the NBA where, things are going to get heat up. We're going to have some trade discussions and things like that. But, Sean, you got anything else for them?
Nah, man, take us out of here, bro.
This is the Draft Season Podcast. It's your boy, Young Raz. We are out until next time.